Today we are working on a Volkswagen Polo. Have you ever had an MOT advisory that looked like this? Suspension arm, pin or bush worn but not resulting in excessive movement near side front, and then also on the offside. So near side and offside rear bush on the front suspension, which in this car, in some cars that's part of the lower arm, in this car it's part of the subframe, and that is the bush that is in question. 15 quid. And I will show you how to replace it. So considering that it's only an advisory, you might be wondering how quickly you need to get it done. I would say it's not imminently dangerous, but it can cause your tyres to wear really unevenly, which can cause to, really badly worn tyres, which can be dangerous. Or if the bush does become completely loose, that can also become dangerous. It can cause the car to wander. So I definitely wouldn't leave it for an extended period of time. There isn't really a time period, it just depends on the car, how badly worn it is, but any advisory you get on your MOT you should definitely sort within at least a month or two, at least. So I want to start with removing the wheel. So I like to just go ahead and remove everything with the same socket. This is 16mm. Awesome. If that doesn't come off easily, you need to get in there with the Torx bit and break it loose with the spanner. I've shown that in other videos. This should just pop straight out now. Look at that. Sweet. Okay, so down there are the anti-roll bar bush bolts which hold on to the back of the subframe. Just going to whip those out. And we'll do the same on the top. Once that's loose, the whole anti-roll bar should be able to move up and down like that. Just going to undo the ball joint. Like a little washer, 3-part washer on top. Well, it's not a 3-part, it's a 1-part, but it's got 3 captive nuts on it, which you need to not lose. So on the bottom of the subframe, there are 2 16mm bolts just here. Way. And there. And then one more just next to it. Okay, a few 18s, and there's one hidden just up there, which we'll get to. And then there's one just here, at the end of the control arm. Remove that. And then just remove this last rear subframe bolt on this side. There we go. So theoretically, after all that, this should all be totally loose and should just come straight out. What we'll have to do is first probably remove this lower arm, separate the ball joint. There we go. And then lift up the anti-roll bar. Just pull the whole thing out. So essentially, now that you've removed this is the lower control arms, this is where the ball joint was. This is where the pinch bolt goes through from the lower arm into the subframe. This is part of the subframe. Technically, this is like an aluminium subframe. This is just part of it. And then this is the bush which we need to replace. So in order to do that, we need to break the two apart. So the old bushing shouldn't be that hard to remove. I just remove them with a hammer. There you go, that's out. So they just come flying out, they're just held, it's just basically like a plastic outside. Then your bush in the middle, that just goes inside the sleeve. We just clean this out with a little bit of sandpaper and then we'll press in our new one. Time to press in the new bush, which wants to go in this way. So you need to make sure the bush is going in straight. If it's not, like mine is going just off to the side there, just need to slacken everything up, straighten it back up again, and then continue tightening. And then there we go, one bush pressed in. You can get special tools so you can do it on the car, but I don't have it, and I also don't really find it that much extra work to remove the subframe and do it out of the car. It's up to you, your choice. You can either buy the special tool and do it on the car, or remove it from the car and do it like I've shown here, whichever is your preference. So it should go back together no problem. What I like to do is get all of the bolts started finger tight first. So the 3 ball joint bolts down here, finger tight, the wishbone arm, and then we've got our subframe bolts there, and then you know there's one on the other side of that bush that we just replaced. And then the anti-roll bar link as well. And then once you've got it all finger tight, just go ahead and tighten them all down at the same time. And what I like to do is I like to jack up on like underneath the wishbone and just raise the suspension sort of like probably to about here, you know, by a few degrees, just so that we don't tighten down our new bushing in a bind. And that's essentially it. It's much more simple on other cars, but this still isn't really too difficult. So if you give it a shot, let me know how you get on.